history, you know, the Confederates were able to shoot pterodactyls, you know, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online.
Google it
They
yourself.
spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, you know, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge winglet. It was a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so,
what I'm saying is Jesus wrote a dinosaur to work. That's history. It's in the Bible. How to Train Your Dragon.
Historical facts.
And if you don't believe it, do your own research. Pull up Google. You'll find the picture, I promise.
Oh my god.
Thank you, John Gleason, Godless engineer, for gifting me this beautiful moment. Y'all remember when they tried to cancel Steven Spielberg for posing with an animatronic triceratops animal rights activist?
Back it up.
Hit it from the back.
Cloaca. Historical facts.
Eat my ass, BP. You're down here bailing on the rest of us because you don't want to process your grief and shame like a normal person by drinking and mistreating strangers.
No, Rick. It is you who must nibble my cloaca, or bird asshole.
Everyone knows what a cloaca is.
you know, back in the Civil War, and they spread these things out. Anybody can look it up online. They spread these things out, and this is a historical fact. So, you know, they spread this thing out, and it's got a huge winglet. It's a pterodactyl they shot. So, of course, these things have been around. Now, they went extinct, obviously, slowly, but surely. And so,
Paul Bunyan was sharing some Funyuns with his pet velociraptor.
Whoa.
Oh, you thought it was an ox? Roll back the clock. Let me knock the socks off. Historical facts.
I didn't cut out. You heard me. Are you a pervert or something? Okay.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Tonight, we're going to be going over Todd Friel from the Wretched channel, and they have 7 arguments that definitely prove a global flood happened. I'm sure that this isn't going to be the same cookie cutter shit we've always been presented with. This will be hardcore scientific facts here, considering that if there was a global flood, we should have scientific facts. I see Jim Barrows in the chat there saying, whale penis! Oh, man. Nice to have you here there, Jim. Anyways, if you heathens want to fuck around and find out what the 7 best arguments for a global flood are, then please stay tuned. Yeah, sorry about that. Apparently my audio sounds particularly horrible tonight. Hold on. Technical problems with GE. Huh? Yeah, I know. Let's see. What's up? Test, test, test. 1, 2. Does that sound any better? Apparently not. So hold on 1 second. see if I can. Test. Well, I mean, I could easily turn that off, but I don't know if it's sounding better. I know there's an echo. That sounds better. Testing. I am an engineer. I have video. That sounds better. Yeah. Yeah? Okay. I just had it turned up a little bit too much, apparently. All right. Awesome. Yeah, you know, I always got to get all those nice little bugs worked out very beginning of the stream, because there's no way we'll have bugs at all for the rest of the stream. All right. So awesome. Welcome to the Friday night stream, everybody. We got Wizard of Oz with a member chat, a milestone chat, saying someone should make a cartoon called Dr. Dino, an animated Kent H misdiagnoses dinosaur patients at a prehistoric clinic. I'll write the script. That sounds pretty nice there. I'd probably give that at least a pilot watch through. But anyways, so we do have Wretched on tonight, specifically Todd Friel. He's going to be listing off multiple different arguments for global flood. So we're going to see if this is anything new that he's got for us tonight. I don't think that it really will be, but
hey, this person just bought an express ticket to hell.
So we got Quentin Van Boeven saying, sending in my weekly tithe. I need some mixing ideas for my blue flame. Got any GE? I need some mixing ideas for blue flame.
I think blue flame is that. Remember that blue moonshine?
Oh.
Blue flame moonshine?
I gotcha. Blue flame moonshine. Yeah, hold on. Maybe my my sound got turned up or something. All right, let's see. I turned down my mixer a little bit. I don't know if that'll be any better. So, mixing ideas for the blue flame. Does that sound better? Okay. Anyways, no, I did not get a Speedo yet. But anyways, so as far as mixers go, you know, you can make a lot of shiny drinks, right? I know when I was drinking moonshine, what I would drink is like a shiny Arnold Palmer. Or, you know, what you could do is do like a shiny diet vanilla Coke. You know, just put some moonshine in there with some vanilla. Or if you got vanilla Coke, that's fine too. But do that. I mean, pretty much nearly any drink could be shiny that you could think of. Just you know, make it a shiny whatever. But Arnold Palmers are always pretty good. Shiny Arnold Palmer is generally what I did. Yeah, it's half tea. Well, I guess it would have to be a third tea, a third lemonade, and a third moonshine.
That is a heavy drink.
If you want to be heavy, I guess. You know, I don't go light many nights. Anyways, tonight I've just got Diet Coke and whiskey, Jameson whiskey. So. But anyways, what we are going to do is we are going to have some Today I Learned Tonight, as well as some comments and some shitty ass science. I got Procephus coming in. He's going to be giving us sort of like a PSA tonight, raising awareness for people and everything like that. So we've got a full show tonight. Hopefully we can get through most everything and get to the meat of the video rather quickly. Just to let everybody know, a portion of all of the proceeds here on Godless Engineer go to a charity each month. Last month we were able to donate $500 to the Recovering from Religion Foundation during their donation drive, and we were able to help Ethan and RFR get over $10,000 in donations this year, and not solely us, of course. There were many other creators that were taking part in that. We just, for a time there, we matched all donations up to $500. I slipped up a little bit on that though, because I don't know how that works exactly, and I went ahead and I donated the $500 anyways. So, but it ended up covering it, eventually. That's all that matters. But anyways, last month, in February, we were able to donate to RFR. This month, we're not sure where we're going to be donating yet, but we will be letting you guys know next week what cause we're going to be supporting. And I have a few ideas in mind, but I need to talk to my 50-50 partner in crime, KC over here, about it. She's the one that kind of handles donations and everything like that. Jonathan, yes, Jonathan did do a member milestone chat saying, will you sing technical problems with GE, sponsored by Jonathan Hanachek, all night when you have problems? Thanks. Well, not all night when I have problems, but I'll go ahead and sing it right now. Technical problems with GE.
He wanted you to say sponsored by Jonathan Hanachek.
Oh.
But I wouldn't.
Sponsored by Jonathan. But anyways, all right. So now that that's out of the way, if you guys want to become a member, that also helps. And then doing the super chats that really helps out too. Now there's a special $5 super chat tonight. I'm wondering if anybody can find it. I went through and I tested extensively. We've already seen the super chats come up in the notification with Brocephus down here. So I wonder if anybody can find the very special $5 super chat. Message. We got Elizabeth Richardson.
Here comes the gravy train.
Fuck yeah, there goes the gravy train. Elizabeth Richardson says, for whatever charity you do this month, and that sounded even worse with the peaking when you're loud and close to the mic. Lol.
If you're low, it's not doing it. But
May
as
the
soon as
power
you
of
get
Christ
loud,
compel you to get the fuck
Oh, okay.
out of
and you're a
here.
loud person, so.
I am a loud person. That's right, hun. Hold on. I turned my mic down a little
I've
bit.
come to drink beer and shit on people. Luckily, I have enough beer.
Wizard of Oz says, here's some monies for the things so I can feel like I'm doing something positive. And Quentin Van Boomen says, in the name of finding the new one. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my mic tonight. Does it not sound too bad?
It's better, but as you get louder, it's loud, but it's fine.
Okay. So I'll try not to be too loud tonight. That's going to be incredibly hard. But let's see. Jim Barrow says, trying for the special Brocephus. Hopefully it's way
I've
up.
come to drink beer and shit on people. Luckily, I have enough beer.
Jim just got shit on.
I'm sure Jim can agree about the shitting on people part. But Jim says, trying for the special Brocephus. Hopefully it's whale pain. It's not about whale pain, but it is something that some people might understand. Anyways, I've got a lot. I do have several mixed in there, so hopefully somebody can ding on it tonight. Feel free to send in a super chat. Like I said, portion of everything will be going to charity. So I hope you guys have a great time on the stream tonight. Let's hurry up and get to the actual shitty ass, or not shitty ass science. Sorry. Today I learned. Hopefully that didn't peak too much. I tried to like scream in alternate directions.
I gotta tell you, I am thankful for my liquor.
Shit, yeah. Daniel M says, David says good night. We're in God's asshole again. You're in North Alabama? Or are we the buckle? I don't know where Alabama is on the devil's body, or well, God's body. Maybe we're the dick. Who knows? Anyways, thank you, Daniel. And David, I hope you have a good night there, bud. I hope you sleep tight and have a great weekend. All right. All right. So first up on Today I Learned, we've got Mars rover detects carbon signature that hints at past life source. Interesting. That's a very interesting find. I screen capped this just a little bit ago, so it is relatively recent that they were able to find it. So I'm kind of interested as to what kind of life, past life source there could have been. The aliens that built the pyramids. The aliens. Not saying it was aliens, but aliens. Let's see. Next on Today I Learned, we've got Today I Learned in 1941, almost 10% of all recruits for the U.S. military were rejected because they did not have 6 opposing teeth on their upper and lower jaws. The U.S. dental health was so poor before World War II that it was the leading cause of rejection.
I think we have teeth to be honest.
Well, I mean, I think it was more about like, you know, not being prone to infection and stuff like that, being able to eat and everything. Like the dental health thing matters a whole lot more. That's why, you know, the whole don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I mean, you can tell how healthy the horse is if you look at, you know, inside their mouth and shit. I think that's mostly what it's talking about. But, you know, I'm sure everybody from the South was very disappointed in this.
Kick.
Yep, you're right, honey. You thought it was don't kick a horse in the mouth, which is still valid. Don't kick a horse in the mouth. Don't kick horses in their mouths. I can just imagine some dude like doing a roundhouse kick and popping a horse in the mouth, and the horse coming back like, what the fuck did this guy do? Anyways, so that's quite interesting. And then finally on Today I Learned today. Today I learned that Dolly Parton wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day. Both hit #1 on the US country charts, went platinum, and made Rolling Stone's top 500 songs of all time. I Will Always Love You was named the #1 song of the rock era in the top 500 songs of the rock something. Hold on. Era? I can't. Rock era, 1955 to 2015. Wow, the songs of the rock era lasted between 1955 and 2015. Really? That's I didn't know that. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah, garbage. That's right. All right. So that's it for the Today I Learned. So I hope that you guys learned something. I know I did. And then we're going to be going on to the comments. Comments of the day. Prepare to Facebook yourself in the next week.
That's KC's money.
It's my money.
Fucking KC's money. Damn. Thank you so much there, Jason, for testing for the special Brocephus one. I kind of feel like at some point I'm just gonna have to like actually play it for y'all. Because it's like the RN Jesus is just not working with me tonight on the alerts. Anyways. Here is Representative Clay Higgins. Clay Higgins is one of those dipshit Republicans out there. And I feel like it's quite sad how far they have to go to fabricate persecution now because they're so not persecuted. by the way. Representative Clay Higgins says, my wife has the gift of premonition. Last night, she dreamed that federal squads were in our home, seizing guns, knives, unauthorized foods like Twinkies and cupcakes and shit, and stored water. Wait, he has stored water in their house? Like, you think he's a prepper? I don't know. Anyways.
Stored water is a good idea.
Is it?
Yes.
Like, I mean, just having bottles of water, fine, but you're talking about like jugs of water?
Barrels.
Barrels of water. Yeah. Okay.
You can collect them. They have rain barrels. You can collect rain.
I think there's actually a problem like with the city if you start collecting rain.
You know what? The city doesn't have to fucking know what I do in my backyard.
May the power of Christ compel you to get the fuck out of here.
Elizabeth Richardson says, or hear me out. It was just a dream. Yeah, Elizabeth, that's right. They said we had been reported, probably by the fucking liberals that live next door. Becca awoke, crying, "What happened to our freedom?" She asked. What indeed? I mean, what? Like, you had a dream, okay? A bad dream, true, but your freedom hasn't been taken away, okay? Like, nobody has taken anything away from you, especially not unauthorized foods. Like, what even would the fuck that mean? Other than it's foods that you or not foods, but it's stuff that you shouldn't eat that you think are food. I just and even then I don't think that people are coming in and taking those items from people, but it's amazing to me that there's so little persecution that's happening to Christians right now that they have dreams about being persecuted and then wake up acting like those dreams are real. Because why else would you be like, what happened to our freedom? What indeed? I mean, that just kind of insinuates to me like, oh, you're playing into this whole persecution fantasy that, you know, Christians somehow don't have the right to store water in their house. Is this it? Is this it?
Listen, I don't care what you say. He was literally shitting in the holes.
That's another good one, but not the new special one. All right. So it amazes me the amount of or the links that Christians nowadays will go to in order to be persecuted. Okay. All right. Let's see what the next our next comment is for tonight. Okay, this one's gonna need some explaining. Fine. All right, so it's the little, you know, side eye meme, and it just says U.S. and Russian astronauts on the ISS. This needs a little bit of explaining. If you guys don't know how the ISS is set up there, in the ISS, you have two control systems that are separated on the Russian side and the United States side, right? The Russian side has control of the boosters that keep the ISS in orbit, and the United States side has like the generator and stuff that provides electricity for the ISS. And so this week it was revealed to us that apparently they are possibly like the Russians are floating around the idea of not using the thrusters and stuff to keep the ISS in space. Like we just may not do that anymore while we're up there in space. And it's so weird to me that that they would do that. All right. Sorry, I just guaranteed the special super chat will come up, okay? So we got a member chat from Daniel M, who says, Branson is God's asshole. There are fun things to do, but being here as an atheist, anyone would agree. Picture Vegas turning into a Christian town. Oh, shit. I could just imagine it's like, now, Jesus wouldn't like for you to be late on these payments now. And I don't have a bat. Here, I got this. Jesus wouldn't like you to be late on these payments, okay, you little miss bitch? Now, you don't pay Jesus, and I fucking swear.
You can't even see the gun on it.
I know, that's how good it is. The gun's invisible. It's like a special skin for it, you know? Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so this is the thing about US and Russia in the ISS, and it's kind of weird. I would hope that they would be able to set aside differences like in space, like on a scientific mission and everything like that. But no, I mean, I don't know what the Russian astronauts or cosmonauts rather would do, but hopefully they would put people. There you go.
Y'all know what? Anytime is a good time for a beer.
Well, shit. Mathwiz did a super chat saying the Dream Chaser spacecraft could have performed ISS reboots if NASA had selected it for the commercial crew program. Oh, interesting. I swear to Christ, I turned off all of the other $5 chats. None of the other chats should be. So maybe it needs. Hold on 1 second. Shit. So, sorry about that. I refreshed the super chat thing. I refreshed the cache, so hopefully it'll actually load up correctly right now. We got Jester, Lord of Fools, doing a member milestone chat saying, I hope you're not planning to withhold the story of your encounter with a predator to get that gun. You know, my ass would not do well against a predator, so I definitely just bought it off somebody that already killed it. All right, let's get to the next comment here. All right, this one's a little old, not too relevant, but still funny. This person says, the bubonic plague literally vanished without a trace. Was there a vaccine? Didn't think so. Same thing is going to happen with coronavirus. Just wait. Vaccine. I'm not going to finish the rest of that word, but vaccine idiots, I guess. And then somebody comes up behind them and it's like, the bubonic plague literally killed 50 million people. How are you that fucking dumb? I wonder how that sounded. Hold on. People, how are you that fucking dumb? I wonder how that sounded. Hold on. People. My shit's still a little fucked up. I wonder if this will help.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, that'll help. Just break fucking everything. Fuck all this shit. Tired of it. Okay. I don't know if that helped. Okay. I don't know if that helped. It did not help. I don't know what in the fuck is going on right now. But anyways, I'll just try my best. Sorry for the sound being kind of shit tonight. Oh yeah, so the bubonic plague still around, still bad. So I don't know why they think that it just vanished.
Hey, dipshit. This person just bought you a beer.
Oh my God. You just need to play it for them.
Woo! That's KC's money.
What in the hell is going on? I have no... Okay, look, here's what I'm going to do. I promised that it was going to play. Everybody's trying to hit it, and for some reason, it is just not hitting it, and I don't know why. But I feel like everybody's tried more than enough to be able to do it. See if I can custom.
Woo! That's KC's money.
You know what? That's fucking bullshit right there. Okay, that's what that is. Maybe I didn't save it earlier. Did I not save it? Nope, I definitely saved it. Here.
Hey, ain't nobody gonna be fighting over this $5. It's $5. It's all
Shit. Let me see if it'll actually like that.
Hey, ain't nobody gonna be fighting over this $5. It's all mine.
There you go.
I thought it was mine.
What?
I thought the $5 was mine.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What? Maybe we are gonna fight over $5.
Are we gonna fight over $5? Are we gonna duke it out?
Well, isn't that what 50-50 partners do? Fight over $5?
Yeah. Yep. That's what they do. Dragon Master says they are dumb with dedicated practice. That's right. I don't know if anybody got the reference to that, but I don't know why it's not like for whatever reason Stream Elements is fucked up. Anyways, all right. So yeah, the for one thing, during the bubonic plague, it killed a lot of people, and those that survived were maybe not naturally immune, but did come out of it. And the bubonic plague is still around. Like, there are still cases of it happening. So I don't know what these people think about this stuff, but anyways, it's kind of weird. All right.
Elizabeth Bridget said you have to make sure you sign a contract and make sure you're 50 partners. That's called a marriage license.
Don't talk about contracts now. We do everything verbally here because that's the best way to do things, and we have seen it many times where just verbally communicating it is the best thing to do. There's no way that recorded shit could come back to bite me in the ass. Just saying. Anyways, so here's a nice little natural news thing that says they told us the sun will give you cancer, but actually the sun protects you from cancer. I don't know how they got to this particular point in this, but I mean, holy fuck. Like, I don't know why they think this, but they obviously do. Sunscreen protects you from cancer. Sunscreen contains chemicals that give you cancer. What? Like, I would just really like to know where they're getting their information, because this just seems completely backwards to me. Because sunscreen doesn't give you cancer; it protects you from the sun ray, the UV light that can cause cancer. So I mean, it's kind of like, tangentially related, not tangentially related, but it's not explicitly to stop you from getting cancer, but it just results in that. And then diet products are more healthy. Diet products contain aspartame, which causes brain cancer. Well, fuck. Well, and it's not specifically that diet products are more healthy. Obviously, water is going to be far more healthy than a soda. But what the diet products cut out is the carbohydrates from the sugar that's contained within them. That's why I drink diet products. But I mean, I drink a lot of like water, on top of like I might have an energy drink and some coffee in the morning. And then we got annual mammogram scans will prevent breast cancer. Mammograms expose you to ionizing radiation, which gives you cancer. What? I feel like this is not a serious graphic here because it totally misrepresents everything. It misrepresents reality about it. Like fluoride will protect your teeth. Fluoride is a chemical which promotes cancer and fluorosis. Actually, there are several scientific studies that have been done on fluoride. Whenever water treatment plants add fluoride to the public drinking water, and it's actually resulted in better dental health for the surrounding community than not having it. So it seems like it's bullshit again on this little particular graphic. And then finally, we've got another vaccine one for tonight. Last one, we've got knowledge is knowing the ingredients in vaccines. Wisdom is not putting them in your body. And then a whole bunch of Bible verses. Now listen, I don't care if you believe in God, like even the biblical God or not. I really don't. But when you start saying dumb shit like this, I'm obviously going to say something about it, okay? Like this is some seriously dumb shit. Maybe I just need, I think maybe I just needed to turn down, like for whatever reason, sometimes, I wonder if that helped. I think maybe I just needed to turn down, like for whatever reason. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that sounds a little bit better there. I'm not peaking as much as far as my little bar goes, but anyways. Yeah, so, but when you start using Bible verses in order to say that they mean something about vaccines or taking vaccines or anything like that, that's so ridiculous. Like, I don't know how to respond because the Bible doesn't say anything about vaccines. Now, if the Bible is the absolute word of God and God is all knowing, then God should definitely have told us about making vaccines, you know, when he was able to pin it with his lightning dick. But for whatever reason, he chose not to. He chose to allow the human race to go thousands of years without vaccines before we started developing them. And I believe it was, let's see, Jonas Salk, maybe? It was, let's see, Jonas Salk, father of vaccines. Oh yeah, he developed one of the first successful polio vaccines. I don't think that he initially developed vaccines or he's like credited with that, but he developed like the polio vaccine. And you know, why would you spend that amount of time, you know, allowing your people to be ravaged by disease when you could have just easily wrote that down? Like in your holy book. Instead, you decided to go on a whole like ego stroking, dick sucking tirade against how idiotic humans are. Like I have no idea why in the fuck you would. Anyways, well, that's gonna be it for the comments tonight. Again, any super chats that you send in, the super chats that have already been sent in, portion of those are going to go to charity. Really appreciate you guys finding them. I don't know if the next few super chats are going to operate appropriately. I tried to make it so that it was just the newest one to come up, but apparently maybe that's not in the cards for tonight. Anyways, we're going to get to Brocephus. I hope you guys enjoy whatever he's got to say. I do not know what he's about to talk about, okay? I just know that it's a PSA about something important. So I hope that you guys will just, you know, I don't know, pray. I don't know if you guys pray or anything like that, but just, you know, think of the children. Oh, hold on. I'm coming. Just hold on. Fucking shit. I know I was supposed to be ready for this shit, but god damn it. You sprung it on me too quick. I was expecting you to talk for a little bit longer. God damn it. Fuck. You and your fucking toys everywhere. God damn it, GE. I almost killed myself. Woo! All right. Today, we are here to talk about the effects of Pokemon training. This is a direct effect of it. Now, I know you guys play Pokemon Go's and all the other like Pokemon games, but this is real. Okay, this is a real affliction on these little creatures. Okay, when you get tired of playing with them, you want to switch up to a different Pokemons. This is what happens. They go on benders. They drink excessively more than me. They drink excessively, and like this little guy right here, he drank a little bit too much and now he's passed out in the street, doing tricks on the corner just for shits and giggles and probably a little bit of Pokemon's food. I don't know what this little fuck eats, probably magnetic fields. My point is that whenever you go out and you start catching the Pokemons and then, you know, you use them for a little bit and throw them away like they're trash, they turn into trash like this. So please consider it the next time you go out and play your Pokemon Go's and your other Pokemons on your Switches and shit. Because when you stop playing with your Pokemons, they immediately hit the Jim Beam bottle. Or maybe this guy's vodka. I don't know. But anyways, I just wanted to come on here for a second and let you guys know how shit it was to just throw away your Pokemons like this. Okay? I got people in the chat telling me Magmite is a nullivore. What does that fucking mean? Does that mean they just don't eat anything? They just sort of exist? Well, then how is he drinking the alcohol? There is a Jim Beam port somewhere on this motherfucker, okay? Whether he boofs it up his ass like that Kavanaugh fuck on the Supreme Court, or he just chugs it normal, I don't care. He is obviously hitting the bottle a little too hard, okay? So I don't know what a fucking nullivore is, but we need to save these Pokemon out here. Yeah. What is that song? In the hands of the angels, Pokemons are here. Donate today to save a Pokemon because they're clogging up our fucking streets. Stop drinking Pokemons. You're worth something even if Ash don't give a shit about you. I don't know. Anyways, stop playing around with Pokemon's hearts and causing them to develop a drinking habit. Okay? I'm just saying. Be wary of that kind of shit, okay? Alright, well that's it for me today. I just wanted to let y'all guys know about that, and I guess I will see you heathens later. Bye, y'all. Whew. So like I said, I didn't know what he was gonna say, but obviously I don't know what in the fuck this is, but it's obviously not a Pokemon that's developed a drinking habit. But you know, Brocephus saw it on the internets and he just, you know, got really teary-eyed and everything like that, so he just felt like he needed to do something on the internets, and he just, you know, got really teary-eyed and everything like that. Sorry, I was just trying to check my my sound again. It's still not sounding like crisp and everything, but I guess it's a little bit better. Anyways, you missed the Pokemon PSA. Yeah. Does Xander need something? Okay. All right. So that's going to be it for the TED Talk tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But now we're going to get to the video. Boom. Seamless change on over. All right. Here's Todd Friel. Todd is going to let us know the 7 best pieces of evidence, or the 7 best arguments for a global flood. And apparently this has been out since July 15th. So here it goes.
This is Wretched Radio with Todd Friel.
Speaking of the Ark, this is Wretched Radio, Answers in Genesis. Currently, thousands of people walking through a recreation of Noah's Ark. It is a magnificent museum.
It's really not that magnificent of a museum. I've been there. It's rather it's very intricate, and it's some parts, the newer parts, are a little bit more put together than other parts. But it's just, I don't know. He's right that thousands of people go through there every year. I looked up 2021's numbers, and it was between like 800,000 and 1 million people visited. Now, as far as like, you know, people being indoctrinated into something that's completely false, but being portrayed as, you know, objective, or not objective, but absolute reality, it's kind of sad that it's that popular. But on the other hand, for like a theme park, I don't think that that's all that great. I would think that you'd want to pump them numbers up. Those seem like rookie numbers. But then again, you're talking about, you know, fucking Ken Ham and the Ark. So there's a lot of problems with the Ark as designed by Ken Ham. Like there's the little front part on it that's kind of got the nose sort of that breaks through the waves and stuff. Like that wasn't developed back in the whatever fucking century Noah was building shit, or they say that Noah was building shit. That wasn't around. Also, the dimensions of the Ark make it look more like just like a long wooden cube almost, or rectangle. So I don't know. There's a lot of problems with the Ark, I think, and having been there, I don't see it getting any better. They always change shit up. Like when we went to the Creation Museum, it was all about dragons and shit. And when we went to the Ark, it was pretty bare bones. You know, the one thing that we did see was that they had 3.
Hey, dipshit. This person just bought you a bear.
Thank you there, Bro Cephas. You're supposed to say the other thing, but all right. See, Jason Kolasik says, what kind of museum doesn't have artifacts? True. That they had displays, really, not really artifacts. They had displays that were created for them. Oh, one of the things that I thought was kind of weird at the Ark encounter was that they proposed that there was this land animal that eventually turned into whales. But then when they showed the Ark, like in other depictions, it was obviously like there were obviously still whales.
I don't know if y'all know this, but every time you donate, the Lord cries.
He does. He cries. Quentin Van Boomen says, but I thought Ken built it according to the Bible. He did, but I mean, he obviously took some liberties with the design of the Ark. Because I don't know if you know that movie Noah, that was it David Aronofsky? Aronofsky? Or I don't know. Anyways, that Noah movie with Russell Crowe, they had a much more realistic Ark as far as how it's described in the Bible, because we've actually taken a look at that, and it in no way describes exactly how to shape the Ark, just how long is it, how big is it, and everything like that. So I mean, I don't know. Ken Ham definitely took some liberties, artistic liberties, and even within the Ark itself, it talks about taking artistic liberties with things. And it's just, it's really ridiculous. Anyways. All right.
Because that's what it is. It's not like some sort of theme park. It's a museum. Tons of teaching. Please go with your family and then get up to the Creation Museum a little further north. Spend a day at each, and you will be more edified and you will be more secure in your knowledge. Genesis has a lot of answers.
No, it doesn't. Genesis does not have any fucking answers. As far as like reality goes, because like I said, we've been there. There was this one whole section of it. Was that at the Creation Museum, honey, or was it at the Ark where they had the one section that was just like, this is how shit society is. This is the downfall of society. You know, secularism and atheism and not putting God at the front of everything. Do you remember? You don't remember which one? They kind of blend together, don't they? Yeah. Well, the point is that it definitely doesn't contain any good information. You know, it totally ignores genetics. It ignores the phylogeny of animals. It ignores the fossil record. Like, it ignores everything. Oh, the one thing that we did see was that they had, what was it, like 3 goats on the Ark? Like, they had 3 different goats on the Ark, and I think that they were only supposed to have 2 of that. I don't know. Maybe that was one of the groups of animals that they were supposed to have 7 of, but they had 3, so it was going to be a weird 3-way either way. That was at the Ark, yes. Because we got to pet them. They're just right in there. They take a shit in the bow of the ship. It's just great. It's like you were actually living it.
And that's pretty catchy. Genesis has a lot of answers. We could work with that. So the other night, I'm reading Answers Magazine. This is a great magazine to get for you and your family, especially if you are at all interested in science stuff at all. And even if you're not, a knucklehead like me can actually read this and get this stuff. The headline on, or the cover on this particular issue, the 7 best evidences of the global flood. This will ring in your ears. No, it won't. It'll make my head hurt, but luckily I have lubricant for that. This is just going to be a list of the worst arguments that you can think of. My guess is, and I made these guesses before I even watched the rest of the video earlier to know that this is a good video to suggest. But my guess was that they were going to ignore science, like what science actually says. They were going to twist information that we currently have to meet their narrative. And there's literally not going to be anything edifying about it. You are going to love this. You're going to go, yes, that's right. My Bible is true. Somebody who doesn't believe in God will not receive this information. How can that be? How can 2 people in the same room hearing this?
I don't know what y'all have heard, but donating is not going to make me stop. Fuck me in the asshole.
Dragon Master says the platypus is the result of a swinger party where the duck and the beaver swapped partners. Yeah, I mean, the platypus is kind of a weird creature. I don't know what God was thinking. He was probably up there like, all right, I'm going to create a really fucked up thing. I want to take a duck and mix it with a beaver, and I want to give it some venom. No, not in the mouth. No. It's going to be on the backside of his knees. Do it. Print it up. 3D print that shit. Get it out there right now. He was definitely having a shiny Arnold Palmer at that point.
Same evidence, come up with such radically different conclusions. That is the moral to this 7-point story. You and I love this because we believe it. The world who does not believe, they cannot receive it. It's staggering to me. It's just amazing to me when you hear a scientific scoffer say, well, the world being covered in water, that's ridiculous. Have they never flown to Europe or the Middle East or to Asia? Look down from your window. If you've got a window seat and they don't make you close the window and wear a mask over your head. The point is, there's a lot of water on the planet. 3/4 of the earth is already covered. It wouldn't be that much more difficult for God to take care of the other quarter. And yet they deny it.
Well, hold on.
Why?
Okay, so why? I wanted him to get all of this out before I answered why. Well, why is because there's just simply not enough water, even locally, in the solar system to account for, covering our entire planet with water. Then you,
Hey, ain't nobody gonna be fighting over this $5. It's all mine.
Finally caught up. Hey, it's Brocephus. Okay, he's wrong in general. He doesn't get a 50-50 split. Okay? Huh? I don't know. We could take him away. But, I mean, he's definitely not getting all the $5. You know, we've got taxes to pay out of it. We got accountants to pay out of it. Channel expenses. I need $5,000.
I think you should pay me $50,000 for the last 2.5 years of me just fucking being around.
You want $50,000 for just being around me for the past 2.5 years?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I'm not that big of a pain, right?
I mean, no, you're not.
Okay. Anyways, Mathwiz says, I love how he overpronounces every other syllable. It's really weird how he does that, doesn't he? I don't know why he does it, but it's weird. So anyways, he's also not accounting for like the physical weight of the water and how much water would actually be needed. So, and you can do this kind of math on your own if you want to. All you need to know is how to calculate the volume of a sphere. Right. And then what you do is you take the current diameter or radius of the earth right now, and you calculate like what's the existing volume of that. Right. And then what you would do is you would calculate the volume of the earth, but expanded to include the very tippy top of Mount Everest, which is the highest point on earth, right? Because obviously the world was flooded, everything was covered. Okay. So and then you expand it out to there, and then you just subtract the smaller volume from the larger volume. And then that's the volume of water that you would need in order to cover the entire planet. And it's just an astronomical number. And it just, where did it go? Like, obviously, he's appealing to magic here. Because he's saying, well, you know, if God put all of the water that already exists on Earth here, then he could just snap his fingers and put the rest of the water here. And that's true. But you're appealing to magic. And that's not going to be convincing to any rational person. Like, God just magically snapping water into existence is not going to be a good explanation for anything, because we don't have like a natural process or a natural explanation or any kind of explanation to explain why this or explain how God can just snap his fingers and create water out of thin air. Like that literally makes no sense on a world focused on reality. Okay, you have to step outside of reality in order for that to even make sense. So there's that. Also, the way that the water, as told by the Bible, got on the surface, it actually has a lot of problems. There's the heat problem, because the water spewing out of the crust at the speed that it would be required to spew out of the crust would, basically destroy the planet. I mean, it would burst out with such a force that it wouldn't even be water at that point. the amount of heat created by the friction of the water, along the crust would actually cause it to heat up and turn to steam. And so it would pretty much just blow everything on the surface of the earth off, heat it up to a point where nothing could survive. And the amount of force that would be required is akin to tens of thousands of nuclear bombs. And so I don't understand why they think that this is like a scientific explanation. It literally makes no sense.
To the evidence we go, courtesy of Answers Magazine. Number 1, marine fossils high on mountains. Did you know that? There are marine fossils. They should be in the water way down below, and yet they're on top of the mountains.
Todd Friel doesn't know how mountains are formed. Yeah, I know. I hopefully I directed it to where it didn't peak too much. Are formed. Yeah, it didn't sound too bad right there. Anyways, so how mountains are formed is through tectonic plates shifting and causing the earth to push on, or causing the surface of the earth to push on itself and push mountains up. And so if you find marine fossils on top of mountains, that's because that particular piece of earth or whatever used to be on the bottom of some kind of ocean or some kind of body of water. But then, due to the shifting of the tectonic plates and all that, it eventually got pushed up and was turned into a mountain. And this is just a normal, natural process that we've known about for a while. And you can even use GPS recordings of mountains to measure how fast they grow. And mountains do grow. And so it's really ridiculous to me that he's like, seashells on top of mountains. Daniel M says,
hey, ain't nobody gonna be fighting over this $5. It's all mine.
Daniel M says, not only the heat problem, their own Bible says it rained 40 days and 40 nights. That's a, well, yeah. So thanks for bringing me back around to that, because you've got the 40 days and 40 nights of rain. That was on top of the water spewing out. Now, the amount of rain that would be needed in order to contribute.
What are you doing?
I blew my load.
Philly 3000 blew Casey's load and didn't say a thing about it. Yeah. So the amount of the amount of rain that would be required to contribute, like the Bible supposes, the humidity would be so high, and the water vapor would be so thick in the air that you would literally drown in it. So there's a lot of different avenues you can go down to where it just doesn't make sense. Now, they do have a way around this, okay? And you can call this the cue ball hypothesis. Basically, what they propose is that the earth was a perfect sphere prior to the flood. And then when the flood happened, that's when the tectonic plates formed, and that's when mountains formed. I don't know if y'all know this, but perfect spherical objects just simply don't exist in space unless they're created by an intelligent being or whatever, which they think that God is. But also, those objects are normally not the size of planets. And we have never observed any planet to be as far as a planet like Earth's, I'm not talking about gas giants or anything like that, that are primarily composed of gases. I'm talking about earthy, planets that are built the way that ours is. You don't typically find them to be like perfect cue balls. But they want to suggest that it was a perfect cue ball, even though there's no evidence to that.
Go figure. From the magazine, fossils are one of the best evidences of a global flood, especially where many fossils are found. Example, we don't find marine creatures such as fish, clams, and corals buried and fossilized on the seafloor where they once lived. Huh. Instead, we find most of them buried in a sedimentary rocks on the continents, even on high mountains. For that to happen, the ocean waters had to totally flood the continents, and I would even suggest recede somewhat rapidly, and that's exactly what the Bible described.
Well, no, it actually doesn't require a worldwide flood. It literally just requires the surface of the earth looking different. If you don't know, several hundreds of millions of years ago, there was actually a sea that bisected what we would now recognize as North America. And so to say, oh, well, there's coral up there and there's not a sea up there. It's like, well, yeah, but there's not a sea now. So it kind of like, it works against you, because if you understood that there was a sea there at one time, then it would make total sense for you to find coral in those locations. But also, he's talking about where we find these fossils in the fossil layers, and that also works against him, because typically, like in a flood situation, you would expect the most buoyant creatures to rise to the surface and be closer to the top of the geologic column rather than at the bottom. But you see, the problem is that we find some of the most buoyant creatures, creatures that are incredibly buoyant, being near the bottom of the geologic column instead of near the top. And then you have heavier creatures that are higher than these more buoyant creatures that were fossilized at the bottom. And so there's just a lot of problems with bringing up fossils as far as it's concerned with the global flood. We'll get into that a little bit more because he kind of touches on that here in a minute, but safe to say that this is not the strong evidence that he thinks it is.
We find ammonite fossils, squids with shells, in limestone layers high up on the Himalayas in Nepal, near the top of Mount Everest. Maybe somebody brought him up there. I know, Ken Ham. He went up the mountain and he just put him there so that you got that evidence. It's all a scam. What?
Are you aware you're a grown-ass man?
Hey, dipshit. This person just bought you a bear.
Thank you. Lisa for Truth says, does this dude not know how geology works? He doesn't seem to. So he's trying, like, the best counter explanation that he can come up with is Ken Ham took his old ass up the Himalayan mountains and up Mount Everest and put the fossils there. That's the best that you can come up with for this. And let's not take him so literally as to mean Ken Ham, but let's just say people did it, right? People put the fossils up there. I mean, this totally ignores how mountains form. This totally ignores the changing face of the earth. This totally ignores tectonic plates. It just, you have to ignore so much scientific information in order for any of this to make sense.
But it is. Why do you love hearing this and others hate it? It explains why our world is the way that it is.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't explain shit there, Todd. We got Philly who says the only way it could have been like that is when it was in Pangea, when tectonic plates hit each other. Oh, that money was for KC. Lol. You got your $10 there, hon. Yeah, we'll split it 50-50 in perpetuity.
They said that was my money.
It was your money? We'll have to check the verbal contract.
What? How do you check a verbal contract?
I mean, we'll figure out a way. I'm sure it's recorded somewhere.
We find marine fossils in most rock layers exposed in the Grand Canyon walls in Arizona. That's why. I don't know who runs it. I haven't been to the Grand Canyon. I think I flew over it.
Yeah, he apparently thinks he didn't notice the giant Grand Canyon like out the side of his window. I know my face would be glued to the fucking window if I was flying over it. But he made the suggestion a minute ago that, you know, we just don't want in some kind of way. He made it out to be like, we just don't want to know the truth, or we just don't want to explain reality or something like that. And that's just a very dishonest way of portraying people that are counter to the creationism position, because there are plenty of people out there that are not atheists, that are definitely theists, and they accept an old earth, they accept evolution, and they accept the fact that God didn't create everything on this planet, or anything on this planet for that matter. So it just doesn't make sense to portray your not antagonist, but it's really weird to portray your opponents as only being atheists that just simply don't want to know the truth. But all right, he was flying over the Grand Canyon, he thinks.
Somewhat recently, it was off in the distance, and the pilot didn't come on to say,
This is the worst Tibetan throat singing that I've ever heard. He needs to practice.
Ladies and gentlemen, to your left would be the Grand Canyon. Bing! That was the bell sound.
No shit, Todd! Bing! Yes, typically bells make a bing sound. Thank you.
By the way, that's right. That's my vocal range. Number 2 evidence of a global flood, massive fossil graveyards around the world.
All right, he doesn't actually, I don't know why he doesn't elaborate on this, but he blows like fucking right past this. His next point is just going on to evidence number 3. So they typically like to bring up the fact that there are massive fossil beds in specific areas that we find fossils in. And the reason why is because of what the surface of the earth looked like when those fossils formed. And when those fossils formed, they were in areas where you would have these adverse weather events like hurricanes or cyclones or tornadoes or floods. You would, I've talked about this before on my channel. I need to go back and make some clips where I explain about these fossil beds, the very specific fossil beds that they usually talk about. But essentially, the reason why these fossil beds exist is because there were animals living in this area. And this area looked completely different. There was near water, and these animals were caught up in these adverse weather events like floods, hurricanes, cyclones, or whatever, and they got buried and fossilized. We got Jason Kulisike.
Just a little bit of money.
Giving a little bit of money, saying fossil graveyards without salt water. Fossils graveyards without salt water. Okay. I'm not sure. Sorry, I'm not getting what you're meaning there, Jason, but I'll try to look for an explanatory chat after that. But anyways, so that's what they mean by these fossil beds. These fossil beds don't actually prove anything about like a global flood or anything like that. In fact, we should expect to find fossil beds, but with fossils from animals from all different time periods that we've already identified. We should find like modern looking canines with dinosaurs, but we don't. We only find like animals that were living at the same time as the other animals. That's all that we ever find. So it just seems weird to bring up these fossil bone beds.
Number 3, exquisitely preserved fossils. Some squids were fossilized with ink still in their ink sacs. And in a classic example of rapid burial, and it's like,
I don't know. I think he's having trouble saying a word that he's probably going to get here in a second, but I like how he started out by saying this is just an easy layman's explanation as to the evidence for this, and then he gets tripped up with one word.
An ichthyosaur, a marine reptile apparently, about 6 feet long, was fossilized at the moment it was giving birth. How does that happen?
Oh shit, Todd, I don't fucking know. Maybe it got buried while it was giving birth. Did you ever think about that? It was an aquatic animal, and so it kind of seems like it chose the exact wrong place to give birth at. And it got covered by dirt and mud and rocks.
Just a little bit of money.
Jason Kolasik says, if you have a global flood, you should find saltwater-based animals in that graveyard. Oh, yes, perfect. Yeah, sorry, Jason. I get what you're saying now. You should find saltwater-based animals in that graveyard. Yeah, I mean, you would definitely find that. I would think that you would find a mix of the two, of saltwater and freshwater, considering that it's all kind of mixing together. But I feel like you don't usually find that. Lisa said, is he stroking out? Somebody call 911! All right. Oh, so
Woo! That's KC's money.
Thank you, Lisa. So anyways, the whole thing about the squids with the ink and everything like that, rapid burial still happens without a global flood. Like, he's making it out to be like rapid burial doesn't happen. And whether or not there's actually a fossil with squid with ink in its sac, which I think that probably what he's talking about is that there was probably an impression type of fossil that was found, and they were able to find remnants of like ink or whatever in it. Or something that indicates that there was ink there, not that they actually found ink in the fossil. I think it was probably just an impression thing. But even if we take him at his word about that, rapid burial still happens, and creationists always want to make it out
just
to be
a
like
little bit of money.
Zachary saying intelligent design. Christians believe God created the world so intelligently designed, then later came back to destroy it all in a global flood. What the fuck? I agree. But they always want to, creationists always want to act like a global flood is the only way to explain all of this. That a global flood is the only thing that explains rapid burials. Rapid burials still happen even without a global flood. Like the aquatic marine animal could have been covered by just I don't know, maybe there was an earthquake, maybe just something underwater collapsed and covered it up real quick. Same thing with the squid. It really doesn't matter because those things still happen without a global flood.
Boom! Something caught it and overwhelmed it and fossilized it. A flood did that. Only the catastrophic global flood could rapidly bury so many large creatures in layers that are so extensive.
Well, no. I mean, for one thing, we shouldn't expect different layers. We should expect one layer, one very obvious layer to be there. And we should expect all of these fossils to be mixed together, from different time periods. But we don't find that. We find them neatly placed in the time periods in which they died. And this whole idea that a flood would produce multiple different neatly stacked layers is just ridiculous. It also doesn't explain, like in the Grand Canyon, why you would have there's one at one point, like the geologic column shifts, like it's kind of catty cornered and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know how that's explained on a global flood thing, but maybe he'll explain it. I'm not sure. Anyways, there's a lot of things that are not explained by a global flood, and the fact that fossils appear in specific layers and the fossils in these specific layers never appear outside of their layers is rather telling, and is the exact opposite of what he's saying.
Number 4, sediments spread around the continents, covering vast areas, every continent. Sedimentary rocks laid down by the catastrophic flood conditions. Many of these sediment layers can be traced all the way across the continents and even between continents. What is the scientific explanation for that?
Well, I'm glad that you asked because obviously we believe in plate tectonics. At one point, the face of our Earth looked very different. There was the supercontinent known as Pangaea that existed at one point, and we know that at one point the continent broke up. So if you find sedimentary layers in one continent that connects to another continent, then the most likely explanation is that they were once connected. But when he's talking about across continents, the scientific explanation for why sedimentary particles from one area would appear in another area, we already have a transport system for that. It's called rivers and, rain, erosion, all that kind of stuff. Like all of that, it works pretty well for, explaining how sedimentary particles can travel from one area to another. So it's not some magical thing that requires a global flood. In fact, like I said, a global flood would entail a single solitary layer that covers the entire planet. That's what he's saying, is that one layer that covers the entire planet would denote like a flood in this fashion. But that's not what we find anywhere in the geologic column. But they want to suggest that it magically self-sorted itself, placed fossils in buried animals in very specific layers so that it looked like it was old, and didn't have any animals that were buried outside of their layers. It just, when you really consider everything that it entails, you just have to keep making assumptions and speculations and just say things that are not found in evidence. And that's just not the most rational way to come about it.
From an evolutionary standpoint, which of course denies, pretty much everything in Genesis and everywhere else, this is proof that God flooded the world as he said in the Bible. Number 5, features of the sedimentary layers. Number 6, no sign of millions of years between the layers. There should be, but there aren't.
No signs of millions of years between the layers. I think he's talking about erosion patterns. If there were millions of years between these layers, and you should see like erosion on certain layers that are later filled in by newer layers. But I don't know what he means by that doesn't exist, because those definitely do exist. In the Grand Canyon itself, you have layers that have been eroded and filled in with different layers. And then you have another layer on top of both of those that continues filling it up, or continues with the geologic column. So I really don't know what he means by this, because there obviously are these erosion marks in several different places, not just the Grand Canyon. So, what he's saying here is just wrong. Like scientifically, it's wrong as far as what we can actually quantify in reality. It's amazing to me. And I've actually got a really great link from, and y'all aren't going to believe this, but I have a link from BioLogos that I'm going to put in the description right now. If you guys want to refresh and check out that link later, I've got a link in there right now. That reminds me, I've got to actually hit the monetize thing on this real quick, but or request a review. But in that's a Christian group that uses science to refute creationism. So these are theists that are refuting other theists because what they're saying is just wrong. And it's got an explanation for every single thing in this video tonight, a really great explanation for it. And they actually have like evidence of these erosion marks. And he wants to make it out to be like every single layer is just like a knife edge. Like there's no erosion there whatsoever. And that's just wrong.
At the boundaries between some sedimentary layers, we find evidence of only rapid erosion. In most other cases, the boundaries are flat and featureless with absolutely no evidence of erosion, which is consistent with no long periods of elapsed time during the global flood cataclysm.
No, that's not true. Like I said before, we should only expect to find one layer if there was a global flood. Now, you could say that maybe some sediment sorted itself within that layer, but there should really only be one layer across the entire world where we could drill down deep enough, and examine the geologic column, and you would be able to find this one single solitary layer in there, right? But that's not what we find.
This was a cataclysmic event. Boom, big, in so many ways. In the outpouring of water and the receding of the water, that changed the planet, and it explains why
Hey, ain't nobody gonna be fighting over this $5. It's all mine.
Dario Luna says, hey, you science preacher, you forget the final answer to the flood. God peed all over and then Q drank it back. Like, Q, the guy that's been spreading conspiracy theories? Q drank it back? That hits on to my question that I was actually going to bring up for Todd here, is that where do you think the water went? Did Q sip it up? I don't know. But that's one thing that creationists regularly can't answer. I mean, they'll say that it receded back into the earth where it came from. But, when we look inside of the earth, we don't find that amount of water. So I just don't think that water exists inside the earth. You would need to actually find that. There is water inside of the earth, obviously, but I don't think that we've never found as much water as would be required for the flooding of the earth like that. Also, if it did recede back into the earth, if the amount of water on the earth before the flood and after the flood waters receded was the same, then why did it specifically only drain the excess water? Like, I don't know. I'm thinking of different issues that I have with this whole idea of it just receding and going who the fuck knows where. Maybe it went through a portal and it just went back to wherever it came from. I don't know.
Have sedimentary layers, why we have fossil graveyards, and why we've got fossils way up on the hills. All proof that the Bible is true.
No, it's not proof that the Bible is true. You're just saying that. And we have scientific explanations for all of these things, but you want to make it out to be like scientists just propose the most simplistic answer to all this. Oh, Ken Ham took the clams up there to the fucking Mount Everest and shit. Like, that's not how scientists work, for one. And we also have better answers than that. Why would you want to attack a straw man view of it? Well, other than obviously it makes your position look stronger while actually just looking ridiculous.
Verse 7, evidence in the folds. Further evidence that these layers were laid down quickly, not over millions of years, are the folds we find in these sediment layers. They go into the details of that. The moral to this particular
they go into the details of it. I don't want to get down in the weeds like that, so I'm just going to spin some bullshit for you right now. But so what they're talking about are the different places on the earth where the geologic column actually has different like curves and folds in it where it seems like things have been squished. Now, they suggest that the layers were actually not hardened yet before this action took place. And the only way that could make sense is if these folds, if you will, if these folds didn't have fractures in them. And of course, when they show you like just a full-on picture of it, you're not going to see the fractures, right? Because there you would be expecting, they would hope, or at least they would hope that you would be expecting like massive like cuts into the fold. But what you actually find are these smaller fractures within the folds that show that it was slowly moved over time. And this fits in well with the plate tectonic theory and how the surface of our Earth changes and everything like that. With how slow these things work, it makes total sense that over a long period of time, constant pressure causing it to fold up like that is totally reasonable. Lisa for Truth says,
you know what? Anytime is a good time for a beer.
Lisa says, didn't he say earlier the layers were flat? Yeah, I mean, I believe so. Yeah, he did on the when he was talking about there's no erosion between the layers, you just find these nice flat layers. I don't know if he was speaking specifically about a certain area, but he did say that they were flat. And then Sirenian says pressure and heat. Under pressure and therefore heat, rock becomes somewhat plastic. That's another good point, is that it does become flexible under those conditions. And so he's ignoring a lot of science in order to make it sound like he's being scientific. But anybody with a basic understanding of geology would be able to clearly think their way around the bullshit that he's spinning. I mean, I'm not a geologist, obviously, but even I know that over time and with enough pressure and everything like that, I mean, it's very easy to create those folds. But you don't even need that, because there are small fractures in those folds.
Our story is, we have the scientific proof that God's word is accurate. But the world scoffs. Oh, those fairy stories. They worship science, and yet when you show them some scientific work, which is just looking at the fossils, studying them, now interpreting them, of course, that's always an issue that we can bring a subjective opinion to.
This is totally fucking baffling me here, because like, yes, there is some subjectivity to interpreting, what scientific results entail. But in this particular instance, you have to literally ignore scientific information in order to make the creationism theory work. Okay. So like, for instance, with the fossils, okay, there's no way to get around the fact that organisms that lived at the same time were always buried in the same fossil layer. And we only find those fossils in those layers. We never find older fossils in newer layers, and we never find newer fossils in older layers. That's one thing that you simply cannot just hand wave away like Todd Friel wants us to. This is something that is not like up for subjective interpretation. Okay, he wants it to be up for subjective interpretation, but it's really not, because there's multiple ways. Oh shit, sorry. There's multiple ways in which we can date these fossil layers. We can date the rocks in the fossil layers. We can date the sedimentary layers that are near those particular fossil layers. There's just several different ways in which we can date these fossil layers. And the fact that we can use radiometric dating, one of the best tools that we have around for dating old objects, I feel like it puts him at a disadvantage here, because this is literally just regurgitating facts, not presenting any subjective interpretation into the findings, and he just subjectively like cherry picks the scientific information. And he only picks the information that, of course, would agree when put together with his hypothesis of a global flood. So it makes no sense to me. But then again, I'm just not compatible with Todd Friel and how he thinks. Like, I'm just not built the same fucked up way that he is.
But this substantiates the thesis that is given to us in Genesis 9, that God created a world and he washed it out with water, the entire thing, not a regional flood, a global flood. Because remember, if it were only a regional flood, God would not have told Noah to build a boat. He would have told him to build a moving vehicle, pack up the family, and go to where you're not going to be drowned.
You know, on the one hand, I can see his point here. On another hand, in Evan Almighty, God could have told his ass to move, but he chose to tell him to build a boat. And that was only a regional flood. Again, that's a fictional story, but also the Bible is a fictional story. So I feel like I'm using comparatively similar kind of shit here, okay? They're both about God and a flood. So I feel like it's on the same level of reasoning as Todd Friel's thing here. But I mean, I think that you know, the flood story could have been inspired by a regional flood, but I think that regional flood probably happened to a totally different group of people, and the Israelites were just wanting another flood story like that was about them, so that it was better or something. Like, I think that there probably was a regional flood or some kind of catastrophe or something like that. But it obviously did not occur in any kind of way that the gospel, or not gospels, but the Old Testament suggests.
But he didn't do that. He built a boat because it was a global flood. Answers Magazine, the 7 best evidences of the global flood, and a ton of other stuff in that.
You know, ever since I got called out on saying evidences, it irks me every time I hear somebody fucking say evidences. Like, Autobot Starscream says Israelites didn't exist yet at that point in the Bible. Well, I mean, I know, but I mean, at that point, like when that was being written, there were, you know, obviously Israelites around, like the Jews. I mean, that group of people, you know, you know what I mean. I didn't mean that they had the nation of Israel, because I believe Jacob got naked wrestled. Yeah, it was Jacob that got naked wrestled in the desert with God, and that was way after Moses. Not Moses, but way after Noah. So, I mean, yeah, they didn't become Israelites until that point, but just that group of people.
Magazine revealing that this Bible is true. Why doesn't the world get it?
Because it goes against all of our scientific information, Todd. That's why the world doesn't get it. Like, your fundamentalist view of the Bible is dying. I mean, there are less people today that hold the creationism view than has ever held it in the past. Fewer. There are fewer people that hold it than there have ever been. So, I mean, it seems quite ridiculous for you to be like, I just don't get it. I mean, we give them scientific information, and it's like, yeah, but you ignore scientific information. Well, you know what? That's just subjective interpretation and shit, and just get out of my fucking ark, sir.
Why doesn't the world respond to this? Would be apologetics, what you just heard. This is a defense of the Christian faith. See?
Yes, it's apologetics, not science.
The evidence that we observe is in alignment with God's word, written down for us 3,400 years ago, the account of the flood. And just interestingly, if you've ever wondered, the books of Moses, the first 5 books, the Pentateuch, how is it that at the very end, we see Moses dying, and we hear his death, if you will, described. Who wrote that? Moses couldn't have written that. Well, historically, and this wouldn't be something that would raise an eyebrow of anybody in the Middle East, even if an individual didn't write something but collected the stories and put them together, it's just called that person's work. So who wrote down the death of Moses? Probably Joshua, but it still is called a part of the books of Moses.
Well, so, I mean, I feel like that's not really addressing the problem here because, I mean, there's several more problems with the idea that Moses wrote the Pentateuch. For one thing, there's at least three different writing styles in it. And I think the current documentary hypothesis actually has multiple different versions of these Pentateuch books being edited together by different people. And that's why you have different references to God and all this other stuff. But in any case, that's a textual thing with the Pentateuch. But just the whole idea of Moses writing this shit down, I find that hard to believe, especially considering that we don't really have, anything that suggests that Moses even existed. And for him to speculatively say that Joshua wrote it down, there's no evidence of that. There's nowhere does it say that Joshua completed the books of Moses or anything like that. And I could definitely see them being like, these are the books of Moses, even though Joshua kind of, helped us out there right at the end. These are the books of Moses. Like I can understand that, but at the same time, there's way more problems with the Pentateuch as it being written by Moses, more so than, who wrote about his death. There's a lot of textual things within them that makes it suspicious that one person wrote it.
Why? Because he collected them. He wrote some of them, perhaps, and he was the one who gets the credit for it, even though he couldn't tell us about the last few paragraphs because he was already dead. It's not an issue. What's at issue with the book of Genesis and the books of Moses is a world whose heart is hard. You and I have a tendency to want to fix their brain.
Their hearts are hard. They're really hard. That's what she said.
We see their thinking. It's so preposterous. It's so detached from a reality. And they're wrecking everything. And we look at it and we go, our kids and the next generations, and what are we leaving for them? Freedom of religion, freedom of speech, common sense, which died a couple of decades ago.
Common sense died a couple decades ago. Did you know this, honey? Common sense died a couple decades ago. When I was like 17 years old.
I mean, I would say it died a lot longer.
I don't know. Well, I could say that you could, that common sense in some people died in 2016, but but anyways, I feel like he's trying to extrapolate all this into a larger conversation on the state of the world or something. And I just, I don't know. It seems like a stretch to me. I don't get how they can connect like people rejecting creationism to what has the world come to? Ah! Where have our freedoms gone? I just had a really bad dream about being taken out and beaten by Abraham Lincoln.
We want to fix it, and we think that if we just address the head, their thinking will get better. That is not the way God.
That's what she said. Just the tip. If you only focus on the head, you'll solve all the problems.
Operates, and I mean that in a surgical kind of way. He fixes the heart. He regenerates the soul. Then the thinking will improve. So if you and I...
Okay, so let me get this straight. You'll, so we'll be fixed when Jesus rejuvenates our heart, and then we'll understand creationism. Like as soon as Jesus fixes our innards, because obviously there's something fucking wrong with my innards. I mean, my pancreas is broke, but beyond that, I'm not sure what he could mean. But as soon as Jesus fixes our innards, then we'll be able to understand all this. But we have to be willing to believe in Jesus first in order to believe in the creationist bullshit. I'm seeing this come up more and more lately, that you have to believe in the faith first in order to receive the evidence or to understand the evidence for the faith. So you've already got to buy the bridge before you see that it exists.
Mourn and grieve over the state of affairs of our current 21st century world. Please learn your apologetics, get Answers Magazine, study the 7 best.
No, I'm done with that. That's all from Todd. Let me let's get back to our main screen here. I guess thank you, Todd, for providing us with some dipshit shit. that was a great sentence right there, I have to say. But anyways, that's going to be it for the video tonight. All in all, I found all 7 arguments to be very, very poor. And I feel like I with limited geological knowledge, limited biological evolution type knowledge, limited knowledge in this area in general, I knew how mountains form, and that explains a lot of the arguments. I knew how the face of the earth has changed over the billions of years that it's been here, and these are just basic things that I think that people should know about. I mean, there are people walking around on the street right now that don't know what the fucking Holocaust is. And those are the types of people that people like Todd prey upon. People that don't understand how our world has changed over time or how shit works in reality. Those are the people that he requires to believe his bullshit. And it's amazing to me that he would paint people that aren't convinced by his shitty arguments as just not wanting to believe or being broken or need to be fixed somehow so that they will believe. It's just, I don't know. It pisses me off. But in any case, that's going to be our show for tonight. I hope that you heathens enjoyed listening to Todd Friel shit. If you will, please go down below in the comments section or in the live chat right now and let me know what you guys think about Todd's arguments. Were they as bad as I thought they were, or do you think that he had some good points? Let me know down below in the comments or in the live chat. But if you're going to be heading out right now, I hope that you guys will smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Fuck. My light just spazzed out for a second. I think I need a new bulb or some shit. Anyways, fuck, it fucked me up a little bit, and you can tell on the screen I'm partially translucent now. Anyways, almost got raptured by God, guys. Anyways, I hope that you guys have a great weekend, and I guess I will see you heathens later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens. But wait, don't go, because we have the Skeptic Mafia comments, which, if you guys don't know, if you're part of the Skeptic Mafia, you guys will get to comment on the live stream video that we cover every Friday night. So if you want to add in your 2 cents to the stream, then you can become a mafioso, and you can leave your comments on the video, which I will read and discuss before we head on out of here. It's just messed up a little bit, I think. Hold on, let me see if I can turn it off. And everything is solved by turning it off and turn it back on. No, it's still like blinking or something up there. Anyways, yeah, we do. Let's see. There we go. Let's see, we gotta fix this crop thing going on right here. Oh wait, I gotta zoom in. That's what the problem is. All right, so first up, we've got Deviant Outcast, who says, one of these Fridays, I'll have my brain properly tuned. I don't know how to tune a brain. Do you? So I took it to the brain shop, and they took one good look at it, and they said, well, it looks like we're going to have to rebuild the whole head. When I got my brain back, it didn't work right. I haven't had a good idea since I got it fixed. Anyway, at some point, hopefully the fried will be in the day more than in my brain. Hoping for some Egyptology tangent content in the future. Missed the last one, sadly, but if there's one thing I know, and there is literally one thing, it's that few things gets me going is people who don't know how to history write, and my English is flawless. Okay, this whole comment is pointless, but hey, it's my virgin post, and we all know if you're gonna fuck, don't fuck a virgin, because practice makes master, and master, stop it, stupid brain. Anyway, again, sorry, I'll be better when I grow up in the mafia, that is. Till then, lick, lock, and do the dirty to the button. Also subscribe, become a mafia member, because the podcast is awesome. And yeah, I'll shut the fuck up now. Hugs and kisses, and don't forget, a whale peen in the ocean can be so much more than just a wet dream. This is interesting. Thank you so much, there, Deviant Outcast. Good to have you on here. All right, we've got Jonathan Nickel. The Ark Park, a museum. It is no more realistic than Disneyland, and it has less historical accuracy than Warner Brothers' Harry Potter studio tour in London. If Friel rates that place and the so-called Creation Museum, then it's clear to anyone with at least a modicum of curiosity that he has never studied history or much of anything else. It hasn't occurred to him that the reason non-believers are not convinced is that they aren't victims of confirmation bias. Yes, 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered in water, but Todd doesn't understand that to cover the rest to the point of all land masses, including mountains, to disappear would require a great deal more water than is contained on the surface or in the atmosphere. He speaks of concepts he doesn't understand, which, such as fossils on mountains. Clearly, he has not heard about plate tectonics and how mountains form. He talks of creatures fossilized whilst giving birth, whilst not considering that something that dies while giving birth is likely to not continue the process. The idea that the mother died whilst giving birth and was later fossilized did not seem to enter his mind. He supposedly gave 7 reasons, but some he glossed over, and others were no more credible than those 2. People who believe that the flood story contained in the Bible and other similar flood myths may be historical accounts are just baffling to me. Where did all that water come from? Where did it go? Where did it come from? Where did it go? Where did it come from, Cotton Eye Joe? What did the surviving animals, especially the carnivores, eat? What did the termites eat? How could marine animals cope with the mixing of fresh and salt water? What would they have fed upon once the waters receded and they were left with a world of bare rock with not any plant life remaining? What of the immense amount of energy that would undoubtedly be released that would instantly superheat the atmosphere and boil the oceans? Flood believers don't understand how impossible their story is. I agree there, Nick. Thank you so much. Next up is Jonathan Hanchek that says, I love how people refer to the Bible as a good book. I mean, all books are good until you find out they're full of nonsense and stupidity. But even those have sometimes moral repercussions. And what do you call that? A sense of purpose. To more place ignorance and say that it's knowledge is what gets me on the fact that people actually read this and believe it. When I think of a book that is good, it would be something that contains true factual knowledge. A science textbook that you would give to a student is fallible in the fact that it's always being edited to make it better, so it's easier to learn for the young mind. But if you give a book that is the grade level of a college professor to a student that is only in the 5th grade, they will have no clue if the information they're going to retain would show the proof that anything was real in the first place. Hopefully my rambling on made some type of sense. If not, Control-Alt-Delete or Alt-F4. Thank you there. Oh, he's got a little bit more. Now that I've gotten my rambling out of the way, remember, don't lick that like button like Zoomy wants you to, but instead facepalm the shit out of your phone. Don't do that either, but, you know, smash the like button. And hopefully you'll hit one of the few buttons on there, like the like, the subscribe, and eventually you actually might make it to the part where you could join the Skeptic Mafia. And enjoy all the perks that we get, like talking to GE this coming weekend, supposedly if he actually gets his act together. Yeah, so tomorrow afternoon, I believe, I'm going to be meeting with the Skeptic Mafia, all the mafiosos. So, you know, you guys be waiting for that. We'll probably do it about 4 p.m. Central Time. So just, you know, keep an eye out for the link. I'll be sure to put it up about a half hour before. Wow, Quentin had a lot to say about this one. Man, he was pissed off. Well, this video started out with a lie, and I don't expect it to get any better once we get to the arguments. I mean, come on, calling the Ark encounter a museum is like calling conspiracy theories truth. We all know it is closer to an amusement park than anything. Hey, that's what I actually compared it to. So yeah, we're on the same page there. I don't think there are any answers to be found in Genesis. How can two people hearing the same argument come to different conclusions? It's easy, especially when one is already looking for a predetermined outcome versus wanting to see where the argument takes them. Yes, there is a lot of water on the planet, but when you do the math, there is still not enough to flood the whole world the way the Bible says. Well, technically, Todd was advocating for magical water. So you need to factor that into your mathematical equation there. Just put a little cloud there that says fucking magic. And then on the other side, it just put another bubble that just says everything you need. Also, if you have your mask over your eyes, Also, if you have your mask over your eyes, I think you may be using it wrong. But I am no expert. Holy shit, how the fuck is marine fossils being on top of mountains still being used as proof? I thought we all understood that at one point the mountains were on the same level as the rest of the shit around them, and then through time have risen up due to plate tectonics. You know, you could have a bad argument when a 5th grader could explain why it is wrong. Why do they act like rapid burial is not already part of how we understand fossils to form? It's so crazy to think that an animal died while giving birth. Hell, it happened with humans. What? Probably 120-ish years ago on a somewhat regular basis. How do they not get that at one point there were no continents? There was just a continent. I mean, hell, look at a map. It looks like the shit fits together like a puzzle. Granted, that is also due to artistic liberties being taken, but still, so of fucking course, you could find sediment layers and rock formations in the same places on different continents. Are we seriously saying that Moses was a real person in history? I thought even Christian scholars accepted that he was a work of fiction. Yes, well, critical scholars of the Bible definitely do. But you know, a majority of the biblical scholarship is controlled by, like, you know, fundamentalists. Sad to say. But so you have a good number of people that are still arguing for a historical Moses. And people like Bart Ehrman think that they're not bad arguments. Just putting that out there. You know what? Go ahead and mourn it all you want. Just don't act on it. Oh my, didn't mean for it to get that long. There was just so much wrong in so little time. Time to shill, and I will try to keep it short. Make sure to like, to share, and subscribe. It really helps out. If you can consider joining the Skeptic Mafia, if you can, for lots of sweet perks. As always, remember to index at 1 and lick your phones. My time is up. Definitely don't index at 1 and don't lick your phones, but I appreciate you there, Quentin. Jason Kolasik says, I know I saw this before. If it wasn't covered tonight, would...
Hey, ain't nobody gonna be fighting over this $5. It's all mine.
Quentin says, this is a penance for my long mafia comment. Thank you, Quentin. I appreciate your input. Jason says, I know I saw this before. If it wasn't covered tonight, would assume it would already be debunked by GE. He is Wretched, of course. He would claim to have 7 proofs. Yes, it will ring him ahead like an incurable case of tinnitus. Tinnitus? God fixes a heart by giving every living thing a death sentence. Yeah, it's kind of weird. True. Wow. Jester Lord of Fools says, please excuse the lack of consistent format to this response. I hope my money is worth reading all of this, but I decided to be less disruptive and move at least 80% of my snark to the comment section. Oh, goody. Nothing gets the blood pumping like Todd Friel. I love to see the perks fly if he and GE decided to do a podcast together. No. Well, not that I wouldn't have a discussion with him, but I doubt he would have a discussion with me. Wait, never mind. Those sparks would probably be from Casey as she lost it from the other stupidity. Let's see what amazing arguments he has today. Todd, speaking of the flood, I love this one. Gilgamesh, coming to understand that mortality is a gift is Todd. Answers in Genesis. Oh, you mean the plagiarized version in the Bible that cuts out all the best parts, like trying to save friends, family, and the people who built the damn boat. Todd then goes into the line about how we just can't receive it, to which I will give a flippant, cool, I won't try to anymore then. Off to live my best life before eternal damnation for being created unable to understand this shit. He then fails to understand that most Americans do not, in fact, have the time or money to afford to fly to Europe, and thinks that you need to jump on a plane to see large bodies of water. Having seen the Gulf of Mexico, I can tell you they're beautiful, and the existence of them does not prove that a 6-day flood could destroy the world without doing so much as flooding the ark with water and drowning it in the sea way faster than 8 people could bail water. Close the window and wear a mask over your head. At this time, I'd just like to mention that this guy survived for 6 years by telling jokes. Oh, interesting. That explains a lot. Ken Ham climbing does sound ridiculous, and I'd certainly love to see any image of him going anywhere near the 150 foot from further than 150 foot from a vehicle or building. But thank you for reminding us of those amazing fossils that have survived well over 6,000 years. Why does that number seem like it would be important to one of us? Please never demonstrate your vocal range again, because I'm pretty sure that is going to haunt my dreams tonight. Things die in childbirth. It's rather sad, Todd, and a great reason to protect freedom of choice. From an evolutionary standpoint, you might get a better answer from a geologist, because most biologists aren't studying rocks, buddy. If actually hinted at the name, no layers between the layers. This is actually a great opportunity to look at the trees and see that they and buildings like the Pantheon are not in fact buried deep within the earth, despite being hundreds of thousands of years old in many cases. This is because layers only form if sediment layers are able to be formed. No evidence of erosion during the time that water flooded the earth, so no evidence that water did one of those things. Water does best is proof that it was there. The world scoffs because we don't worship science. We study it with honest and open hearts. He built a boat that wouldn't save anyone from anything and probably wouldn't float. Your argument about Joshua is one that I haven't heard, but the format just sounds like a lot of hand waving and assumption. If you'd like to expand that topic, I'd love to see how fast we can address it. Todd ends on a rant that I could see myself saying about him very easily, as I wouldn't account my deconversion to evidence and science. I long managed to ignore the differences between reality and the Bible, attributing that to the flood could happen because God is magic. No, my deconversion was over the horrors of watching more and more heinous things being done because of God's commandments, and the decision that if God existed and he wasn't going to do anything about this mess, I didn't want to be associated with him. It was only later that I stumbled upon atheism through education simply because I wanted to learn about people, and wow, is this community full of the most positive people looking to improve lives in ways I've never encountered before. This is the community that every pastor pretended we were at a church while it made thousands of moves that did nothing but help it hold on to power. Todd then goes on to prove that he's never worked at a call center, shows us that he does in fact, at least in theory, know how to smile theoretically, because I didn't have enough nightmare fuel from the plane act. Thank you so much there, Jester. Next is Command Cyborg. Hello, world. Oh, it's Todd. Well, let's just see how this condescending Pratt what this condescending Pratt has to say. Then, a boat-shaped building known for its flood damage. Don't go there unless you know what you're doing. A scientific scoffer, Todd talking about himself. Brachiopods on the mountaintops. Ever heard of plate tectonics, uplift, and such? Then extra precious fossils was obviously not buried by a huge flood. They would have been destroyed, you dimwit. That's actually a pretty good point right there. People don't think it's real because it's too stupid to think so. Moses couldn't write them books. He's too fictional. Yeah, you religious fundamentalist types really don't really care about free speech as long as it's you doing the talking a bit. Oh no, it's the weird end of the film sketch. This is going to be too stupid to take. Hide the whale peen. Smash all the buttons, ring-a-ding-dong. Don't leak your phone without proper precaution. That's all, folks. Thank you. And Command Cyborg says good night. SN Balmung says, of course, science supports a flood myth as long as you ignore geology, meteorology, genetics, paleontology, archaeology, dendrochronology. I don't know what that is, but it has something to do with measuring time, I think, or measuring something over time. Did I get that right, SN? Anyways, Peyton Dooley says, awesome, Todd Friel. I've met him before back in my evangelical days. Listened to him when it was Way of the Master Radio, then Wretched. I still have my Wretched t-shirt. Really? That's interesting. I didn't know it was Way of the Master Radio. So he used to be associated with Ray Comfort? That's interesting. Then we got Perplexed Papa saying, wow, this Seth Andrews wannabe will read anything for money. The lies spewed from his lie hole are constant throughout his reading. If I can't catch it live, I'll watch it ASAP. Thank you so much. Then we got Trickster saying the Ark Encounter and by extension the Creation Museum are not museums and teach absolutely nothing. Let's see if I can say this like an apologist. About 4,000 years ago, give or take, a man who is thought by some to have been about 500 years old or somewhere around there. It's in my new book. You can find it in the description. How did man of 500 and his family build a massive ark, you ask? Silly you. He probably hired some people from the towns around him. Look at the goalposts go. At least he admits that this is not for people like me and is for those who already believe and will not question anything. That's probably why he is reading from a creationist publication, no citations, evidence, or anything that is peer-reviewed. He keeps saying that he believes everything in Genesis is true without flaw. I guess that means that he believes that there is a firmament over the earth that keeps the waters above apart from the waters below. At least this guy didn't do laps while he was pulling stuff out of his butt. That would have been uncomfortable. Like, subscribe, and share. Want to be able to sit at the cool kids table? Or would you rather be part of the crowd that may be a little warped and maybe not always so cool? Join us in the Skeptic Mafia. You get a lot of neat stuff. You have some interesting conversations with people who are willing to listen as well as speak. And as always, part of your dues go to good causes. Yes, they do. Thank you so much. Then we got Metalhead who says 7 best arguments. We will see about that. I have yet to hear one argument for the global flood yet. I have heard a lot of claims and suppositions, but not actual arguments. Maybe I have a higher standard for what qualifies as an argument, like having at least some merit and evidence to support it. But who knows, maybe someday I will actually hear an actual argument for the global flood story. Pretty sure it will not be today or by this person. In fact, I'm willing to wager that it will be the same suppositional claims others have already been using. Then we got Drew's Book Reviews, who says, I love a good epic fantasy filled with all kinds of gods, magical events, creation myths, etc. It's really too bad the best-selling fantasy book of all time is so poorly written, filled with inconsistency, plot holes, boring dialogue, and generally just a terribly written book. That being said, the flood from the Bible is one of the more interesting stories contained within this epic fantasy. I have tried to get through it so many times, but have never actually managed to read it from start to finish, although I think the second half is a bit better written, but only marginally. Hey, if you don't have time to read it, you probably have time to listen to it on the Daily Bible Podcast that premieres every Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. If you want to know more about the Bible, you can go through our back catalog and get to the flood story if you want to listen to it all the way through, if you don't have time to actually read it. I provide my own commentary there, so just take that for what you will. Of course, massive flooding is a common myth among many different cultures. I believe Gilgamesh was one of the most well-known examples, and I'm thinking I should read the Epic of Gilgamesh one day. I have already read the Epic of Noah many times. Anyway, heathens, until next time, keep on reading. And then we got Zoomy, who says, my biggest evidence against the flood would be the fact that we still have vegetation as well as fishies. All the fishies would have died if the world flooded, because like you can't have ever heard of brackish water where, you know, saltwater fishies can't live, nor can freshwater fishies. Anyway, I've talked enough. On with the ASCII. And then it's just impossible. Cause like the whole flood scenario is entirely impossible. You know what isn't impossible? You licking the like button, smashing the subscribe button, and ring-a-ding-ing the bell into oblivion. Oh, and if you've got a few bucks you could throw by John to join the Skeptic Mafia, that'd be awesome too. You can get him to say stuff like "True engineers index at 1," or "I hate Star Wars. Star Trek is the best thing ever, and I will swear to my grave that fact. Love you, John. Exit stage right." And then Gary White just says, interesting. Thank you so much there, Zoomy. I disagree about indexing at 1 and Star Wars, but other than that, everything spot on. That's going to be it for the Skeptic Mafia comments. I do not believe anything was held in review. Nope, it definitely wasn't. So that's going to be it for our show tonight. Ran a little bit over. But it was great hanging out with everybody tonight. Thank you so much, Zoomy, Cyrian, Autobot, Exceptionally Average, my, of course, KC over there. I got to go and get Xander, to bed because he was supposed to be in bed like 40 minutes ago. But in any case, for the mafiosos out there, I'll see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time. Be looking out for a link about 30 minutes before that so that you can join. I won't really be in the call at that time, but you know, I'll be there at the 4 o'clock time. So I will see you heathens or you mafiosos then. For everybody else, next week we've got a lot of great videos scheduled to go up. We're gonna have Did Jesus Exist on Monday, and then we got the more of Daniel on Tuesday. We're gonna have a discussion, an old discussion that I've kind of retooled a little bit, and we're going to have that premiering on the channel. And then on Thursday, we're going to have proof that God exists. So if you heathens will, please go down below. Let me know what you thought about tonight's live stream. And don't forget to smash that like button like everybody's telling you, and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice, and I hope y'all have an awesome weekend. Bye, heathens.